Nina is married to Mikhail, and they have two beautiful young daughters, Alaya and Natalie. Nina, thank you.
Thank you.
I give the stage on you now.
Thank you so much. I wanted to share, is the picture available? I just wanted to share a picture because it's tied into my whole testimony. So this is me when I was 3 years old with my mother and Mother Teresa in Hong Kong. Yeah. So this picture has been with me as long as I can remember. When I was a little child, it was hanging by my bed. And for as long as I can remember, I've been longing for a connection with the divine. And I've carried this picture with me every place I've lived as an adult. And, you know, sometimes for years didn't look at it, and then sometimes now it's on my desk. So I have a deep relationship with this image to me of this woman, and I'll tell you more about it. So when I was in 6th grade, I was in a Catholic school in Paris, and my mother came to give a testimonial about her time helping the missionaries of charity in Hong Kong, which I was born in Hong Kong, and I lived there till I was 5.5, and my mother was very involved with the missionaries, and she would help fundraise and collect toiletries, and I would go as a little child, as a 3-year-old, and hand out sandwiches to men who had tuberculosis or they were lepers. And my mother was sometimes a little worried, but the sisters said, "Don't worry, she's protected," you know, and it was always fine. And I just remember that, you know, that service. And there's a story that my mom told of a woman that she visited one day on the streets in Hong Kong that literally lived in a closet. Like, she lived in a, you know, kind of a commode or a wooden closet. She had no possessions at all. And she opened the closet, saw my mom, you know, this wealthy looking, you know, white Westerner, and she gave her the only thing she had. She had an apple. It was probably her only food for that day, and she gave it to my mother. And her whole life, my mom remembered this moment, you know, and she, like what giving truly is, it really touched her deeply. So from a young child, I always was fascinated reading the stories of the saints. Like, somehow imagining a little girl, you know, having an apparition of the Virgin Mary, I was like, that's cool, I want that too, you know. So I would read the stories of Bernadette and Saint Teresa of Lisieux, and just over and over. And when I was about 9, I think 9 and 10, I was just wanted to become a nun. I was like, this is the life I want. Like, this sounds amazing, right? You're just praying and fasting and being in a community of women. And so I have memories of being in the school play yard. This was before Catholic school. This was when I was in public school. And my parents, maybe they had bought the books, but they weren't like forcing me or prompting me to read them. It was really my own desire. And I remember having a rosary in my pocket and just during recess, like praying the rosary and just moving the beads and silently praying the rosary. I don't even think my parents knew I was doing that. And then when I was in 5th grade, we moved from more the countryside to Paris, and that's when I began Catholic school. And unfortunately, that a little bit kind of like damaged my mystical faith, because I had this direct relationship, I felt, you know, with Mother Mary and with the stories of these apparitions, and it was very beautiful and felt very pure. And then what you were saying, Pastor Willie, like, you get this intermediary. So the priests came in, and it was like, very much about sin and guilt, and you need to come and confess. And I was like, this doesn't resonate. This is not what it's supposed to be. I could feel in my heart. So I kind of started closing down a little bit. But there were some powerful experiences where we took a pilgrimage to different holy places in France. We went to Lourdes, and I remember walking down the halls of monasteries there and walking into the churches. And we went into, it must have been maybe 14, 15, and I described this experience where you're taken, I just want to share you the details with you. So yeah, this experience of being in a room, it looks like a cave because it's in the stone part in Lourdes where the holy water is, and I really literally felt like I stepped into biblical times. It was amazing. You're like in this quiet, dark cave, and it's a section that's just for women, and so they give you like it's almost like a baptism, like they give you a white sheet, I think, nothing else, and then these women in silence like you hold on either side to a woman's arm, and you don't really know what's going to happen, and then they walk down stone steps, and you basically get fully immersed in this cold water. It's the holy water from Lourdes, and then you emerge again. That was, like, for me, just one of the most powerful moments of my life. Like, I emerged from there, and I just got dressed and then left my group. Like, I didn't want to talk to anyone. I was just bathed in this, like, sacred experience that reminded me, of that reading the saints and praying the rosary back when I was younger. And we also went to Rome. There was like a huge jubilee. I think 80,000 Catholic youth gathered. This was when I was a senior in high school. And I remember just the power of like thousands of young people praying and singing together and going to church. That was very inspiring. And after that, like, there's one key moment that I remember being in this pilgrimage in Lourdes with all these youth. We had a circle, like they would have a spiritual guide, kind of an older 20-year-old or 30-year-old mentor. And I remember asking questions, like, really, is there really hell? Like, how does this make sense? If God is loving. And I didn't like any of the answers that this young man was giving me. It just, like, it felt so disconnected from the experiences that I had had, the moments of knowing that God was right there and Mother Mary, and just that direct experience. And so that's when I started to shut down. I was like, where is the bliss here? Where is the love? It feels so heavy. It was all about, you must, you should, you are bad. I was like, this is not, like, this can't be right. I could really feel the filter of man, not just man, woman, humans, over this image of our Father, right? Like the punishing Father, the judging Father. I'm like, no, where's our mother in it, first of all, too, right? Our mother also, we need a father and a mother. So I came back after that. That was kind of my formal departure, I would say, from Christianity, was after that trip, and really the disappointment of having that amazing mystical experience and nobody who could hold space for it. I was like, okay, I'm going to have to find my own path. Like, I'm not finding adults that can resonate or hear this or guide me. I felt like I had no guidance in this. So left Paris, came to America to attend college, and it was, learning and friends, and I would go once in a while to church, but again, I was like, I don't know, I couldn't find my home. It's like, I'm still looking. And then I found Eastern religions, more, spirituality, yoga, and I explored that for many years. Went vegetarian, read, learned. I could get that mystical experience in moments, like with the breath work and the movements of the yoga. So I was like, maybe there's something here. But I also fully didn't trust it, because there was a lot of guru worship. There was still an intermediary in a way. It was like a guru telling people, you must do this, you must breathe this way, you must meditate 10 minutes a day. I'm like, oh, that's like Catholicism again. Here we go. Same thing, different flavors, same thing. So what happened, Pastor Willie was asking me, so like, what brought you back, like here, to cross the street? And so during COVID, during quarantine in 2020, I was taking an inherited family trauma class on Zoom, and the teacher, she's French, and she was wearing the miraculous medal, the Mother Mary, a little medal, on Zoom, just on the screen. She had a black shirt, and I was like, oh. And somehow it just like reignited something in me. I was like, because I had been praying, I was like asking, like, show me what is the way, like, where is the right place for me? And so I went through my old jewelry boxes and found the medals that my parents had bought in Paris, in Rue du Bac, where there was this famous apparition. And I put it on, and then I found a book called The Way of the Rose, about reclaiming the rosary as a practice for everyone, not just for Catholics, not just for Christians, that it really belongs to humanity, that this devotion to Mother Mary and what she represents and her energy and who she is and her love. And so I read that book, and then around the same time, I think around the same time Pastor Willie arrived, and I just had this calling, like, to come here. And then I loved how open-minded this church is, like that it's okay to question, it's okay not to be fanatical. It's okay to consider that there's a sacred feminine, that God is also mother and father. Mother Mary has a place, and so I really felt welcomed here and felt that it's the place for me to, to be okay, that I don't know exactly what my faith is like and that it's always changing, but I trust my heart, and my heart guided me here, and so that's my testimonial. Thank you all so much for everything.